Humans are an intriguing species that has always been influenced by a combination of intelligence and primal instincts. When an extraterrestrial society first came to Earth, they were mesmerized by the variety of life forms, but what really caught their interest was humanity, a species that appeared surprisingly delicate in comparison to the aliens. Starting in over 30 years ago, aliens started to watch, research, and analyze the Earth's predators, who were able to change the planet itself, human actions to comprehend the reasons behind their dominance from the start. Humanity's early humans' ability to adapt was essential to their survival, because they lacked the inherent defenses and raw physical might of apex predators, such as bears or lions. Yet their lack of muscle, they used engineering to make up for the development of language, fire mastery, and tool innovation, enabled them to plan and coordinate in ways that other species could not equal. These characteristics weren't merely for their own sake. These aliens observed that humans had survival mechanisms, which served as the cornerstone of humanity's ascent. Unlike other predators, they rarely hunted alone. Instead, they joined groups, each member of which contributed to the hunt's success. This collaboration developed a degree of social intelligence. Not evident in other species, communication became essential for both survival and humans. Humans advanced through language, transmitted information, improved hunting techniques, and established societies that were, as the aliens dug deeper, they discovered that humans had evolved not only physically, but also, in contrast to many predators that depended on instinct, humans were able to intellectually predict outcomes, evaluate risks, and a major turning point was the invention of agriculture, which gave people the ability to control ecosystems, rather than only seeming to control nature. The extraterrestrials saw how this shift enabled people to establish communities within them, opening the path for complexity-accompanied civilizations, and warfare is another type of exploitation. While other predators fought, predation became a defining characteristic of human societies. Humans fought over territory, mates, resources, philosophy, and the size of these battles astounded the extraterrestrial onlookers. In contrast to predators who kill for food, due to necessity, people frequently struggled for control, leaving behind destructive trails. Yet as technology and tactics advanced, the aliens were most perplexed by human nature's dual nature. On the one hand, people exhibited characteristics of cruelty. Conversely, predators are territorial, aggressive, and strategic, demonstrated teamwork, empathy, and the capacity to form bonds with people in big groups. Contradiction made people unpredictable, something the aliens found both interesting and disturbing. Biologically speaking, humans weren't the strongest or fastest creatures, but astonishingly, the aliens found that humans were bred for perseverance. Hunting is a method in which the target is pursued until it passes out from tiredness. This needed not only physical endurance but mental tenacity. This conclusion was apparent in almost every facet of human conduct. The aliens were especially remarkable because of their capacity to navigate dangerous surroundings and their constant desire to develop, fascinated by the tools and weapons of humanity. In contrast to other predators that developed natural features like claws or venom, humans made basic tools such as trap, arrow, bow, and spear, made us into apex predators with the capacity to defeat animals several times their size. What distinguishes humans even more is their ability to control their surroundings by using outside items as extensions of their bodies. The aliens' ability to think abstractly enhanced their supremacy. They saw how humans produced social, political, and economic structures that increased their power. These structures enabled them to communicate over great distances, plan on a gigantic scale, and construct structures that changed the planet. Thus, in contrast to other predators that resided in ecosystems, humans completely altered their psychological makeup. Early human predation was particularly notable since people didn't only hunt, they planned and expected and adjusted, gained knowledge from mistakes, exchanged experiences, and this never-ending search for more effective techniques made sure that people remained superior to other species, despite obstacles beyond their control, such as catastrophic calamities. Being beautiful, just love that whole quote. It's just really beautiful. On December 5, 2019, the Ripopolaire method of surveying for the Astronomical Institute was recognized as the most startling discovery made by extraterrestrial observers. Was that humans did more than simply control other species. While collaboration was essential to their success, rivalry inside much of their advancement was driven by their own species, and rivalries forced them to innovate more quickly. To further investigate and accomplish this spirit of competition, while being advantageous, rendered people dangerous and unpredictable in certain ways. As the aliens carried on with their investigation, they realized that the predatory propensity of humans was ingrained in more than simply their ability to survive. Impulses, but the motifs of battle are present throughout their society. From their myths and stories to their sports and ceremonies, conquest and victory were commonplace, and this cultural reinforcement made sure that every generation inherited and developed the qualities that allowed them to rule. Yet despite all of their advantages, humans were not without weaknesses, since they were mostly reliant on their tools and systems. The aliens saw that any disturbances to these systems, whether they were environmental or technological, could reveal the weakness underlying their power. This insight suggested a paradox. Despite being at the pinnacle of the predatory hierarchy, humans' place was unstable. But when the aliens put their discoveries together, one thing became evident. Humans were a special species that flourished on intricacy and were not your typical predators. In contradiction, their ability to create compassion and ruthlessness, as well as destroy it, made them powerful, but also made them a species that should be handled carefully. Research into humanity's predatory tendencies showed it revealed the core of what it meant to be human, beyond only their survival techniques. Determination to overcome challenges in order to mold their destiny and make a lasting impression on their world for the aliens. The revelation that humans were more than just predators and were a force of nature was both energizing and unnerving. The beginning was defined by species that had mastered the technique of dominance in ways that no other creature had. The aliens realized they had merely touched the surface of a more thorough investigation into humanity. Surface of what made people special, there was yet more to discover, more to study. And as they focused on the complexities of human civilizations, there was arguably more to be afraid of. One concern that persisted was whether, although all people were predators, some groups, such as Americans, stood out as the highest apex predators. The confluence of historical events and cultural beliefs makes Americans unique among apex predators. Considering structural frameworks across ages, the U.S. became a leading force. Changing the world's terrain in addition to its own trajectory was not an accident, but the outcome of a deliberate evolution characterized by distinctive traits that set Americans apart from other groups. Historically, opportunity and ambition served as the cornerstones of American dominance from the beginning. The United States was populated by people who wanted to reside in a harsh, wild environment. The New World's survival fight fostered a culture of fortitude and independence, which developed. The core of the American identity is the development of a unified mentality centered on reaching and exceeding objectives. The idea of manifest destiny, which holds that Americans were meant to progressively colonize and dominate large areas, fueling this motivation, this philosophy not only provided justification for growth, but also ingrained economic systems' sense of superiority and purpose were crucial in establishing this domination. The emergence of capitalism and the lack of regulations allowed Americans to compete and invent in ways that other countries couldn't match. which led to an economy that emphasized production, efficiency, and consistency. Success in this system's expansion hinged on the capacity to surpass competitors' production. From 19th century industrial magnates to tech companies, competition has been a defining aspect of American life. Modern American entrepreneurs constantly took use of their surroundings to increase productivity and influence. The capacity for innovation swiftly established itself as a hallmark of American society, with innovations such as the assembly railroad developments, aviation, and Silicon Valley's founding demonstrate how Americans have continuously pushed the limits of possibility. This innovative culture went beyond technology-influenced sectors, including agriculture, entertainment, and banking, resulting in systems that were both effective and scalable. American businesses increased their global presence by exporting not just the exportation of goods, but also of ideas, systems, and cultural values created the American economy. The United States is not only a nation, but also a global force that shapes American culture. Characteristics that support their position as top predators: individualism turned into a basic principle that, in contrast to collectivism, promotes individual desire and independence. Americans praised individual accomplishments in societies that prioritized social success. This cultural characteristic resulted in advances in a variety of disciplines, including athletics and science. And the notion of the American dream embodied this way of thinking. This belief system made the bold claim that anyone could achieve success with perseverance and hard work, inspired others to aim further. Fostering a culture that placed a premium on advancement, and this American image was greatly enhanced by innovative media. Music, movies, and television influenced how people around the world saw power and influence. Americans presented themselves as leaders, innovators, and innovators through Hollywood and other cultural exports. For risk-takers, this narrative was reinforced both internally and externally. The continuous depiction of victory and power produced a feedback loop that gave Americans confidence. The United States' apex predator position was further demonstrated by its military and geopolitical initiatives, demonstrated the capacity to forge strategic alliances, project influence globally, and step in during wars. Unmatched impact on the military-industrial complex, a collaboration between, from nuclear weapons to advanced drones, the public and private sectors made sure that technology was given top attention. Americans continued to have an advantage that made them a powerful force. Their supremacy extended beyond combat into global governance, trade talks, and diplomacy. The combination of Americans were able to influence international conventions and policies, using both hard and soft power, which is another facet of American success. Americans have had to overcome obstacles ranging from global conflicts to economic downturns. They always manage to recuperate and solidify their position. This flexibility results from a readiness to accept change and take risks. Whether by intentional policy changes or technical advancements, Americans are known for their ability to repeatedly transform crises into opportunities. Them from other countries that found it difficult to bounce back from comparable misfortunes, the foreign viewpoint on. Americans combined aggressive qualities with a level of complexity not found in other human tribes, and drive with structure and creativity. Their capacity to function both individually and collectively made them especially successful, whilst other countries possessed robust economic or military structures that few could. Given the scope of American power, this multidimensional domination made Americans unique not only among Americans, but as a distinct force in the galaxy. Even in the context of human society's competition, showed the ability to quickly expand and assimilate, adopting and adapting other countries' technological concepts and cultural aspects frequently enhanced them. They were able to keep ahead of global trends by utilizing their capacity to integrate and innovate. Immigrants' skills to take advantage of international markets. Americans have continuously utilized outside resources to bolster their position. But the emphasis on competition also had negative effects from this domination. Individualism occasionally led to social divides and inequality in. Despite these advantages, the darker side of this society was brought to light by money, access to resources, and opportunities. Obstacles Americans overcome to hold on to their position by being resilient and strategically able to. Their ability to confront and adjust to internal issues was just as remarkable as their exterior supremacy, which is essentially what made Americans as apex predators. They were exceptional at maintaining and growing their dominance and influence, establishing mechanisms that balanced ambition by optimizing potential and reducing weaknesses. They maintained their position at the top of the hierarchy thanks to their inventiveness and flexibility. The alien understanding of Americans demonstrated a distinct set of characteristics that characterized their accomplishments and power as top predators, represented the pinnacle of human potential, and influenced not only their country but also the American world. Dominance is demonstrated by behaviors that span the military, economic, and cultural domains and exhibit a constant crawling. The potential to impact and change the world is at the heart of this pattern of strategic engagement and control. This behavior sets a standard that others can either follow or defy. Americans are defined by a combination of cultural influence, power projection, and systematic opportunity exploitation. In reality, the United States' economic clout acts as an apex predator. The U.S. military, this influence is further enhanced by dominance, which guarantees the U.S.'s ability to project power anywhere in the world, continues to play a key role in international disputes and decision-making. The United States maintains advanced weapons systems with a defense budget greater than the combined budgets of other countries. Key partnerships and military installations across the globe, our presence guarantees that no important geopolitical decisions are decided without American involvement or intervention consideration. The military acts as a deterrent and a tool for policy enforcement in everything from wars to peacekeeping operations. Goals, soft power supports this hard power, and cultural heritage is crucial in forming global views that American films, music, and brands control markets and have a significant impact. Lifestyles, the exploration of ideals, has been facilitated by Hollywood in particular. With bravery, liberty, and aspiration, these stories influence not just how others see Americans, as well as how they hope to imitate them. The worldwide appeal of American society becomes a covert yet powerful tool of influence over professors and ideology. Globally, technology is being strategically incorporated into many facets of existence, demonstrates just another aspect of American supremacy, from the development of the internet to the emergence of artificial intelligence. Americans have continuously led the world in technological innovations, yet these developments are not platforms that Americans create to govern information. Not merely convenience tools, but also tools of influence. Flow influences public opinion and fosters reliance on its systems. This transcends national boundaries, as even hostile countries depend on American technologies for vital functions. The flexibility to adjust, and American achievement in the face of adversity, is based on the evolution of these structures. Regardless of geopolitical changes or economic downturns, Americans constantly find ways to reevaluate and come out stronger. This flexibility is a purposeful trait rather than an accident of their systems created to find and take advantage of new opportunities by creating and Americans make sure they stay relevant and competitive in an atmosphere where innovation flourishes. Despite external conditions of international trade and business further highlight the strategic attitude Americans adopt in preserving its power by founding and running organizations such as the World Trade Organization. The U.S. has an impact on the global economic regulations through the World Bank and the Monetary Fund. Participation. These organizations frequently mirror American priorities, guaranteeing positive results that correspond with their interests. The U.S. dollar's position as the global reserve currency highlights this authority, giving Americans unmatched financial power and a broad sphere of influence that includes diplomatic, where Americans use both rewards and penalties to accomplish their objectives. aid programs, trade, and military support. In addition to sanctions and embargoes, partnerships are instruments for building alliances and dependency, are employed to penalize or exert pressure on countries that oppose U.S. objectives. This two-pronged strategy guarantees that even in cases when direct cultural involvement is not evident, few can function without American influence. Additionally, exports are essential to preserving this dominance, since they shape American ideals, values, and tastes of global, and they make sure that their influence firmly ingrains itself into the social fabric of other countries through designer labels and fast food businesses, and entertainment platforms all help to standardize culture in accordance with American norms. Because of this cultural domination, people willingly embrace American lifestyles, which reinforce their worldwide presence. The educational system provides an additional channel for influence. American colleges draw international students, many of whom go back to their own countries. This intellectual export carries American values, network efforts, and skills, produces a knock-on impact by integrating American viewpoints and practices into other national institutions, giving them the capacity to create, educating the next generation of leaders and innovators strengthens American influence over time. Viewpoint on various activities reveals a distinct engagement pattern in contrast to other countries that might concentrate on a single field. Their ability to work in several fields at once. Their tactics are linked rather than separate, generating a feedback loop in which accomplishments in one area reinforce dominance in a different economic, power, finances, cultural, military, and influences diplomatic interactions. And technological leadership propels international dependencies. This multifaceted strategy guarantees that Americans continue to lead the world in affairs. The strategic deployment of strategies is another facet of American behavior that distinguishes them as apex predators. Of trade deals like the USMCA and alliances through institutions like NATO, the United States forms alliances to further its objectives. These partnerships frequently offer a facade of multilateralism, even when the results favor Americans disproportionately. The capacity to organize and leading such initiatives shows a degree of strategic thinking that transcends short-term benefits, concentrating instead on long-term supremacy. But there are drawbacks to this strategy as well. The vigorous pursuit of dominance can occasionally spark resistance, as other countries and people rebel against what they see as exploitation. Or despite this, Americans have proven they can manage and eliminate challenges, whether through negotiating technological superiority or using force directly. This resiliency guarantees that difficulties, albeit important, hardly alter the general course of American policy without regard to the importance of the causes supported them by those on high. Given that the stakes are so high, strategies are completely impacted, the behaviors that characterize Americans as apex predators. Because of their capacity to strike a balance between strategy and ambition, they actively influence circumstances rather than just responding to them. To their benefit, this proactive strategy guarantees that they continue to be not only competitive, but also dominate across a variety of species. Functioning at a level of sophistication that combines these dimensions is shown by the alien analysis of these behaviors, power, influence, and flexibility, into a unified global control strategy. Although Americans excel in a variety of arenas, their status as apex predators carries with it inherent defects. These vulnerabilities reveal the limitations of their systems and draw attention to the difficulties they encounter in sustaining their supremacy, as evidenced by the interplay of internal and external forces. The most powerful people can have flaws. The constant quest for power and advancement frequently results in overcrowding. Americans have created a culture of abundance through consumption, yet this abundance comes at a price. A strong reliance on deforestation and the use of fossil fuels are just two examples of the huge environmental deterioration caused by natural resources. Dependence, the mechanisms that preserve American supremacy, also put a burden on the planet's ecosystems, are under risk from climate change brought on by industrial activity and high consumption rates, increasing sea level not only to the stability of the world but also to the fundamentals of American systems. No amount of technology improvement can eliminate the risks created by extreme weather occurrences and resource constraint, completely address social injustices, further erode the internal framework, and the United States thrives on individualism and competition, two characteristics that also lead to income inequality. A sizable section of the population struggles with healthcare and education. An increasing gap between the rich and the underprivileged due to limited access to opportunities. This gap erodes social cohesiveness, causing instability and discontent. In a country founded on the promise of equal opportunity, these disparities go against the fundamental principles that define its economic identity. Additionally, vulnerabilities pose serious threats to the global interconnectedness of industries. Because of markets, even little hiccups can have a significant impact on the U.S. Its reliance on global supply chains and international trade exposes it to risks beyond its control. Trade wars, economic downturns, and changes in geopolitical alignments may all upset American systems. Carefully constructed, in addition to the dependence on the U.S. dollar as the worldwide currency, although a source of power, reserve currency also poses serious concerns. The economic underpinnings of American influence could become unstable if this supremacy is challenged. Technology dependence is another serious flaw is that despite Americans' constant leadership and innovation, this dependence leads to its own collection of hazards, including cybersecurity threats, technical malfunctions, and our over-reliance on digital technology leads us open to disruptions from a well-organized cyber attack. Attacks or technical malfunctions could affect vital systems such as communication networks and infrastructure. Although a positive, this reliance on technology turns into a drawback when systems are. The United States' vulnerabilities are further exacerbated by compromised geopolitical overreach. Keeps up a huge global network of military installations, alliances, and commitments, which guarantees global impact. It also depletes resources, and the expense of keeping such a presence in politics and the economy generates pressure that may result in strategic errors and protracted wars, like those in the Middle East, have shown the limitations of America's popularity in the global workplace, avoid raising public sport, and so distract from private problems greatly comparable in scope to the worldwide. Provide opportunities for adversaries to take advantage of cultural differences within the U.S. and impair its capacity to keep a united front in the face of societal division, political polarization, and the idea of national unity is undermined by identity-based conflicts. These differences do not only obstruct efficient government, but also produce weaknesses that outside parties can take advantage of. The nation's resilience and response capabilities are weakened when internal conflicts are not addressed. In addition to external threats, mental health issues underscore the shortcomings of the American system. In a society where competition is fierce, pressure to perform frequently results in tension, worry, and burnout. The focus on individual success and productivity fosters a culture where mental health is frequently ignored. This has an effect on social stability and the larger workforce in addition to individuals. In addition to being a source of domination, this unrelenting ambition for success also undercuts long-term sustainability. The speed at which innovation occurs also leads to unexpected downsides because technological development frequently surpasses ethical and regulatory frameworks, resulting in problems like data privacy issues include automation's ability to replace jobs and the moral quandaries surrounding artificial intelligence. While these sophisticated technologies support American supremacy, they also bring about enduring social problems. While many countries gain, unresolved global opposition to American power adds another level of complexity. Additionally, there is an increasing backlash against perceived exploitation and control from American systems. Rivals like through economic rivalry, military modernization, and alternative strategies, China and Russia challenge American dominance. Together with changing alliances and regional power dynamics, global actions like this opposition produce an environmental issues in a multipolar world where American supremacy is being challenged more and more. Geopolitical pressures, social divisions, and economic threats all combine to illustrate that supremacy is not an absolute position and highlight the weaknesses of the American system from an extraterrestrial viewpoint, but a balance that necessitates ongoing modification, and Americans are adept at adjusting to obstacles their universities are capable of overcoming. These opportunities for collaboration and the opportunities to honor the past will come when we finally get the respect and love we deserve for doing what we do in the first place. Knowledge highlights the difficulty of preserving apex predator position in a dynamic global. From an external perspective, landscape humans are a species that evolved not only to survive, but also to dominate. Viewpoint, it is glaringly obvious that the elements that contributed to their ascent as predators are not just about physical prowess or strength, but a certain blend of creativity, intelligence, and adaptability. Because of this, humanity is a topic that fascinates and worries observers. Humans were not the strongest animals. Early humans were not the fastest on Earth, but they were able to adapt to almost any environment. By using their creativity to discover how to employ tools to make up for their lack of natural weaponry. They differ from other animals just by virtue of their defenses and tool-making abilities. Humans' ability to make and enhance tools gave them an advantage in hunting, allowing them to take down larger, ever more powerful prey, which not only guaranteed their survival but also permitted their dependence on collaboration. Further said, humans apart from solitary creatures, allowing them to subjugate others. Human predators cooperate in groups to hunt, protect, and share. Resources, communication, was necessary for this social structure, which resulted in the creation of language, which people could exchange thoughts, lessons learned, and techniques for disseminating information throughout. Generations were able to improve methods and adjust to changing conditions more quickly thanks to this cumulative learning. More important to the development of humanity than any other species was their capacity to govern and influence their habitats. For instance, the discovery of fire altered the course of human history. Fire allowed humans to cook food, which made it easier to digest, in addition to providing warmth and protection throughout evolution, and supporting the evolution of intellect by supplying the energy required for brain development, providing a cognitive advantage to humans throughout millennia as they evolved from hunters and gatherers. This change was significant to farmers because it made it possible for people to assemble in one location, grow crops, and tame animals to assure agriculture a consistent supply of food, which resulted in population increase. As increasingly sophisticated communities emerged, these early civilizations were distinguished by advancements in tools, infrastructure and governance, the capacity to unite and construct communities, established systems of resource management and defense further solidified human domination. Competition for resources during conflict and warfare was another example of predatory behavior. Power and territory frequently resulted in violent conflicts, but unlike other human species, make war a planned activity that they created. Plans, developed weaponry, and employed psychological tricks to outmaneuver their adversaries. Carried out on a vast scale, which distinguished humans from other predators who mostly relied on humans' ability to adapt, was another aspect of their dominance. They could flourish in a range of environments, including forests, deserts, and the Arctic tundra. Their capacity to make tools appropriate for their surroundings, construct homes, and make clothing allowed them to grow. Their ability to adapt was also seen in their abilities to solve problems. When faced with difficulties, people came up with creative solutions to get over barriers that would otherwise stop them, Psychologically, humans displayed characteristics that were crucial to their ascent, such as curiosity, which led them to investigate and comprehend their surroundings. As a result, they made discoveries and breakthroughs that improved their ambition, and survival simultaneously drove people to compete, aim higher, and push borders. These characteristics can sometimes be the source of conflict, but also fuel it. Advancement. The ability to think abstractly was still another distinguishing feature that people could envisage. They developed economic governance systems in order to forecast and prepare for the future. Given social institutions that made it possible for widespread cooperation, this capacity to function, humans were farther isolated from other species within complex systems because they were, in addition to merely existing, people were building civilizations that had the power to change their surroundings and their connections. Other species further demonstrated human supremacy by hunting and domesticating animals for sustenance, them for companionship, transportation, and labor. They changed ecosystems, manipulate nature to fit their demands, frequently at the expense of other species, showed a degree of impact that no other creature could match, and humans' intelligence and adaptability were extraordinary. In addition to their tenacity, they have faced illnesses, natural disasters, and other obstacles that might have destroyed them, but each time they managed to bounce back, and their capacity to grow from setbacks and adjust to changing conditions was the foundation of their resilience. And creative solutions. These elements combined to make people a special kind of creative, because they could develop tools and techniques to get beyond physical limitations. Predators were not constrained by them. Due to their capacity for critical thought and social planning, they were not solely constrained by instinct. Communication abilities and organizational frameworks enabled them to collaborate in ways that enhanced their chances of survival. Because of their skills, humans are now a powerful force, both within and without their own species. This passion idea that our ideal future is farther away. Because of their skills, humans are now a powerful force both within and without their own species. Strong, and their effects on the ecosystem and other animals grew significantly. Altered ecosystems hunted some species to extinction, and altered landscapes, but these measures guaranteed, along with their own survival and advancement, they brought up fresh difficulties, including resource depletion and environmental deterioration. These problems brought to light the paradox of human dominance, whereby human strengths frequently result in outward viewers' vulnerabilities. The intricacy of humanity's predatory nature is both motivating and unsettlingly. Humans are a species that combines intelligence and is not just a predator in the conventional sense. Their quest for survival and advancement, coupled with their inventiveness and ambition, has made them the Earth's main force, which has the power to change history and the planet itself. Yet it also poses questions regarding the long-term effects of their acts and the viability of their dominance.